Today, we're going to uncover how the integration of Gemini technology is taking it to new heights and gave a high-level overview of Gemini, technically Gemini 1.0, and its capabilities. Yeah. Now, let's talk about Gemini, the latest advancement that's supercharging Bard. Gemini is Google's state-of-the-art AI framework that brings a new level of understanding and responsiveness to chatbots. It's the secret sauce that's making Bard smarter and more versatile than ever before.
If I were to look at the foundational breakthroughs in AI over the past decade, Google has been at the forefront of many of those breakthroughs.
Gemini is our largest and most capable model. It means that Gemini can understand the world around us in the way that we do. So not just text, but also code, audio, image, and video.
Taylor used Gemini to search a large corpus of scientific papers for key information.
We wrote a prompt. With its advanced reasoning capabilities, Gemini was able to distinguish between papers that were relevant to the study and those that weren't.
I'm delighted to introduce AlphaCode 2, powered by Gemini. When we evaluate AlphaCode 2 on the same platform as the original AlphaCode, we solve almost twice as many problems.
Gemini on its own has the ability to transform software development as we understand it.
Based on their design, which of these would go faster?
The car on the right would be faster. It is more aerodynamic.
But safety and responsibility has to be built in from the beginning.
And that has oriented us to be both bold and responsible together.
Developers and enterprise customers are going to figure out really creative ways to further refine our foundational models.
Gemini will be available in 3 sizes. Gemini Ultra, our most capable and largest model for highly complex tasks. Gemini Pro, our best performing model for a broad range of tasks. And Gemini Nano, our most efficient model for on-device tasks.
It's been a monumental engineering task, which has been, very challenging, but also very exciting.
One of the reasons we got interested in AI from the very beginning is that we always viewed our mission as a timeless mission. It's to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. But as information has grown in scale and complexity, the problem has gotten harder. So we always knew we needed to have a deeper breakthrough to make progress.
I've worked on AI my whole life because I've always felt would be the most beneficial and consequential technology for humanity. Human beings in our society would have 5 senses, and the world we've built and the media we consume is in those different modalities. So I'm super proud and excited to announce the launch of the Gemini era, a first step towards a truly universal AI model.
The Gemini approach to multimodality is all the kinds of things you want an artificial intelligence system to be able to do. And these are capabilities that haven't really existed in computers before.
Traditionally, multimodal models are created by stitching together text-only, vision-only, and audio-only models in a suboptimal way at a secondary stage. Gemini is the multimodal from the ground up, so it can seamlessly have a conversation across modalities and give you the best possible response.
Gemini is our largest and most capable model. It means that Gemini can understand the world around us in the way that we do and absorb any type of input and output. So not just text like most models, but also code, audio, image, and video. What's amazing about Gemini is that it's so good at so many things. As we started getting to the end of the training, we started seeing that Gemini was better than any other model out there on these very, very important benchmarks. For example, each of the 50 different subject areas that we tested on, it's as good as the best expert humans in those areas.
It's very rare that you can work on a technology at a foundational level and it simultaneously can impact all our products.
We created a family of models that can run on everything from mobile devices to data centers, each of which is actually best in class.
Gemini will be available in 3 sizes. Gemini Ultra, our most capable and largest model for highly complex tasks. Gemini Pro, our best performing model for a broad range of tasks. And Gemini Nano, our most efficient model for on-device tasks.
We want to provide the best foundational building blocks, and then we know developers and enterprise customers are going to figure out really creative ways to further refine our Gemini foundational models, and the potential's almost limitless.
So at Google, there's this healthy disregard for the impossible, and that has oriented us to be both bold and responsible together. As these systems become more capable, all of those capabilities also raise new questions.
We have to think about what it means to have an image be a part of, for example, the input, because an image might be innocuous on its own, or text might be innocuous on its own, but the combination could be offensive or hurtful.
Safety and responsibility has to be built in from the beginning. And at Google DeepMind, that's what we've done with Gemini.
We develop proactive policies and adapt those to the unique considerations of multimodal capabilities. We then do rigorous testing against those policies to prevent the harms that we've identified with approaches like classifiers and filters.
If I were to look at the foundational breakthroughs in AI over the past decade, Google has been at the forefront of many of those breakthroughs. And I think Gemini continues that rich tradition.
It's been an enormous sort of monumental engineering task, which has been, very challenging, but also very exciting.
I have been at Google for quite a while. And the reason I'm here is really I believe in the company's mission. And I think Gemini is a great step in that overall mission.
We end up with a world that has more knowledge and that people have more access to information that otherwise would not be available to them.
That's what excites me, the chance to make AI helpful for everyone, everywhere in the world.
I'm so excited about Gemini because it's probably the most capable AI system we've ever developed.
But safety and responsibility has to be built in from the beginning. And at Google DeepMind, that's what we've done with Gemini.
As these systems become more capable, especially the multimodality, images, audio, video, all of those capabilities also raise new questions.
Going from image to text, that introduces new contextual challenges because an image might be innocuous on its own, or text might be innocuous on its own, but the combination could be offensive or hurtful. We develop proactive policies and adapt those to the unique considerations of multimodal capabilities. And that allows us to test for new risks like cybersecurity and considerations like bias and toxicity.
One of the key areas is not only internal evaluations, but also external evaluations. This can look like external red teaming to bring in different experts to give us their perspectives on how the model is performing, but it also involves getting their advice.
So we're working with organizations like ML Commons to develop extensive benchmarks that we can use both to test models within Google and across the industry. And we're also creating cross-industry collaborations via frameworks like SAFE, the Secure AI framework.
It's an incredible way to learn from the industry, learn from other experts, and build that into how we're approaching responsibility at Google.
It can mean that our models, our products are better for people and better for society overall.
A common problem scientists face is the need to find and use data extracted from the scientific literature. This is difficult because scientists need to search among thousands of scientific papers for key information and extract them by hand. It's a very common workflow and very time-consuming. In fact, some of our scientists at Google DeepMind face this very problem. They use Gemini to help with it because Gemini has an incredible understanding of science. Taylor will explain more.
So we were looking at this study from 2022. The authors had created a data set by reviewing tens of thousands of scientific papers in genetics. They found a few hundred papers that contained the relevant information, extracted it by hand, and collected it in a table. Studies like this can take a lot of time. We needed to update this data set with what's new over the last couple of years. But that's over 200,000 new open access papers added to this domain since 2021. We couldn't do this manually, so we asked Gemini to help us out. First, we needed to filter for relevant scientific papers. We wrote a prompt, just like this one, telling Gemini exactly what to look for. With its advanced reasoning capabilities, Gemini was able to distinguish between papers that were relevant to the study and those that weren't. For the relevant papers, we wrote a similar prompt, asking Gemini to read the paper and extract the key data for us. We could even ask Gemini to add annotations. This showed us exactly where in the paper Gemini found the information. We ran this at scale. And over a lunch break, Gemini read 200,000 papers for us, filtered it down to 250, and extracted their data. So now we have a refreshed version of this data set. But because Gemini is multimodal, not only can it reason about information from text, it can also reason about figures. So let me show you something really neat. With our refreshed data set, we can now ask Gemini to update a graph from the original study. We first gave Gemini a screenshot of this figure. Then we asked it to generate the code required to plot it. And by feeding this code our new data set, we get our updated figure. You can see that this figure now includes data up until 2023.
So Taylor used Gemini to search a large corpus of literature for relevant papers and extract key information from these papers, as well as update figures. Of course, these capabilities can help more than just biologists or even scientists. They extend naturally to any domain that is reliant on large datasets, such as law or finance. So that's what Gemini can make possible. And we are excited to see what you will create with Gemini.
The future of AI-powered conversations looks promising, and we can't wait to see what Google has in store for us. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to share this video with your tech-savvy friends. Until next time, stay curious and embrace the future.